What's good? What's good?
We
Everybody,
in the
welcome
building,
to the
Trey.
show.
What's good,
Good.
baby? We out here. We in the building.
What's good with you, man? You all right?
Man, blessed. You know what I mean? Hey, I meant to tell you, man. Good news, man. We just got selected for another film festival. So, War and Friendly Grounds has officially been selected for 10 different film festivals, bro. So things are
Nice,
happening.
nice.
You know what I mean? We making waves. We making moves. We got Twitter fingers on the way. I shoot Twitter fingers April 22nd through the 25th. That's about to be crazy. So
For
I'm
sure,
excited.
for
You know what
sure.
I mean? Talk to me
No,
nice.
good
What's going
stuff.
on with you? You over there looking all fly? You know what I mean?
Hey, we trying to do what we do out here, man. So let me, like I said, let me welcome everybody to the show, man. This is Looking to Mirror the Conversation. I'm one of your co-hosts, Quay Price, and we got our other co-host, King Jaquil Martin. So once again, let's say the brother just let everybody know that the War on Friendly Grounds is tearing up the film festival ranks. And
Yeah.
he's also got the Twitter fingers on the way as well as he's working through that one. So definitely support the brother. Definitely support what he's trying to do and just help him build. And then too, let's say we appreciate everybody, let's say, joining us and supporting the show as well. Let's say we couldn't do this thing without you guys and your support. So we appreciate that with with the utmost. The utmost. We appreciate that. So man, let me get into these sponsors real quick, then we're gonna jump right in this thing, man.
Pay those bills, Quay. Pay those bills, dog.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Now we definitely gotta take care of these bills, get this stuff out the way.
I see
See
them
what we
bills
got.
keeping that. I see them bills keeping that wardrobe tight over there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
what is that? You know it is, man. You know what, man? I still don't know why that does that. Let me try that again.
Oh, we might have to call Nicole. Got to call Nicole. Somebody call
No,
Nicole. Give us a little bit of help.
don't call Nicole yet. All right, so shout out to our first sponsor, Two Sons Juice Co., a cold press juice company based in Metro Detroit. All natural cold press juices, man, cleanses, vegetable blends, you name it. So definitely go check them out. twosonsjuiceco.com. That's the number two sons juice co.com. Unless they are delivery for Metro Detroit. Also, our second sponsor, waronfriendlygrounds.com. So this is King Jaquil Martin's book right here, 5-star rated on Amazon. Also, he has the short film, like I said, that we just mentioned, that's hitting all the film festivals right now. Like I said, in 10 festivals currently. So definitely go support that. waronfriendlygrounds.com, waronfriendlygrounds with an S.com.
Hey, speaking of that, Quay, I want to first of all thank everybody who tunes into the show. We love y'all. Y'all are the ones who make the show. You guys keep me and Quay on the air. You feel me? But I do want to do a little small plug for my GoFundMe. I have a GoFundMe right now on Seed Spark that will be attaching to the link. I will be bringing the cast and crew on the show so that way you guys can talk to the actors and what it's like to make a film and that whole process. Ask them whatever questions you guys want about the entertainment industry and the reason why they want to participate in Twitter Fingers. But I would appreciate, once I drop the link for you guys, I'll give it to Quay for you guys to support me and on Seed and Spark with the GoFundMe about Twitter Fingers. This is Twitter Fingers right now. We're in the middle of talking about cyberbullying. Twitter Fingers is about trolls in the comment sections and how people are very disrespectful in the comment section. So I created an anti-hero to go around to have this conversation with the congregation. And it's going to be a really interesting movie because the things that we love the most will be used against us. And, it's still just a chance for us to look in the mirror. So I appreciate you guys with that support. And we got a doozy for y'all today, man. This is a topic that I wanted to bring up that I think is important and we don't talk about enough, especially as adults. So, Quay, drop that bomb on them, man.
Yeah, so the topic for tonight is stop using your kids as a weapon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever seen children go through these different scenarios because the parents can no longer communicate or get along for the greater good of the child?
Yeah, no, this is a real situation. Like I said, and shout out to everybody down in the comments. If you're in the comments, drop a little, comment, let us know that you're checking in with the show today. See, we got some viewers on already, so definitely drop a comment, let us know that you're here.
Join the panel too. Come up here and kick it with us. Come talk to us. You know what I'm saying? You might not have a brick background like Quay over there. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good though. Just come join us. I mean, you can see my fish tank in the picture in the back right now. You feel me? But it don't matter what your background look like. It's all about the conversation, and we welcome y'all to join us on the show. To partake in this conversation because we want y'all opinions. I mean, because I'm pretty sure that we all know somebody whose child is going through this situation. It might be you. It might be a friend, a family member. So come talk to us about these situations. What y'all think and how we can handle this better because you know, at one point in time, we were all children, you know, and things that happen in our life as children still affect us today as parents, you know what I'm saying, or as adults. So let's have this conversation.
For sure, for sure. And let's say we're gonna drop. We got the link down in the comments of the live, so you should be able to see that if you want to join the panel. And I'm also gonna put it right here just so you can see it real quick. So let's say you can just copy and paste that into your browser right there, to your Google Chrome or your Internet Explorer, whatever you're using, Safari, whatever you got. But yeah, just post that in your browser, and that'll let you join the panel. So I'll leave that up there for a little bit. But yeah, like I said, man, using your kids as a weapon. So let's get into this. So we see this situation going on where, or better yet, you know what? We're gonna kick this off with a little video.
Now you starting them off with the video already?
You know what, man? We're gonna kick this off with a little video, man. We're gonna kick this off a little bit. Let me see if I can get it to work this time, since it was tripping on me last time. Let's see.
Okay.
Hold on, give me 1 second, folks. Let me see if I can't kick this off.
Well, y'all know Quasi got a doozy over there.
Yeah, I try to keep them queued up, man. We're gonna see if it's gonna work for us this time.
Nicole, come up here and help Quay.
In our society, you know, you can be with somebody and then at the end of the day, you don't work out. So you guys break up, they go their way, you go theirs. But what I am very frustrated with is women who want to use their child as a weapon to try to control the dude that they're not with anymore. I feel like it's tired. I feel like it's retarded, and it makes no sense because in the end, you're not hurting anybody but that kid. The guy, he's going to go on to live his life. He's going to be good. He's going to have his fun. And you're sitting there punishing him for something that really has nothing to do with the child. And I just feel like I've been seeing that a lot. You know, girls will be like, okay, well, you can see your child on this day. Then the guy go pick them up or whatever, go try to, and then all of a sudden you don't want them to, or it's an issue or it's drama. And I just feel like as Black women, we need to do better with that because then you have a daughter who is seeking male attention from every man that she's with because she didn't get that attention from her father because you were too stubborn or too ignorant to go ahead and let her have that relationship. Or you have a man that you ended up raising who has no father. He doesn't know things that he should know. He doesn't do the things that he do because he didn't have that role model to teach him to do that. And I just feel like, you know, as a woman, I see it and it's so frustrating because it's like, you know, that child isn't doing anything to anybody. They're just trying to, you know, they want both of their parents, but you have these girls, and I can't even call them women because a woman knows that whether you're a girl or a boy, you need two parents. Now, if that other party is not willing to be in the child's life, then okay, you know, you step up and do what you got to do as a woman. But if you have somebody who's willing to be in their child's life and you using them as a pawn or you using them to get money or child support or whatever it is that you want from them, but then you kind of want to control the relationship, I feel like it's really unfair.
All right.
I think she planted some bombs right there, you know. But the only thing I didn't like is that she tried. I don't know if she tried or meant to, but it's not a Black thing. It's not, you know what I'm saying? This children get used as weapons in all races. It's just not Black or a Black woman thing. So I definitely don't agree with that portion of her conversation when she was stating.
Yeah, no, if anything, I think she was speaking to us, right? So I understand this does happen in different races and different genres of people, but I think she was speaking directly to the sisters. She just specified that. So, but yeah, man. So let's get into this, man. So the first, I think the first question is why would we be doing that? So essentially, you know, you with somebody, you're in a relationship, you know, this person is measuring up to what you want or what you like. You know, you two, you know, take the next step, you know, you have a child. And then we get to a point where the relationship grows apart or you guys grow apart in your mindset or whatever goals, whatever it ends up being. and then now we have a separation of the two people who were in some type of relationship, and now the kid is being used as leverage, if you will, towards the man. And I'm assuming that goes both ways. I mean, are there situations where men are using the kids against the woman?
I think it goes both ways, because sometimes I feel like men just bail, you know what I mean? And they don't do their responsibility, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I think the young lady addressed, if the guy's in the home, you know what I mean? If he's there, if he's willing to do his part. We're not just talking about people who want to be deadbeat fathers and don't want to do anything with the child. We're actually talking about the fathers that actually want to be in their children's life, but the mother makes it hell and high water to be able to spend time with the child, see the child, talk to the child, Skype the child, visitation, you know what I mean? Those type of situations.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm wondering ultimately, you know, in a situation where you have this taking place, ultimately, what is the goal? Are you trying to get the other person back, or are you just upset with the other person? Like, what is the actual goal in doing that? So in the example that you do have a father, right? So a man who says, okay, I do want to be an active father in my child's life, and you essentially are making that hard on that man to be able to be a father in his child's life when he's actively seeking that. What are you trying to, and like I said, if there's any ladies in the comments that can speak to this, please do. What are you trying to achieve? Like, what do you by with? Go ahead.
I'll be vulnerable enough to share. It's a situation that I'm in, and I always definitely want to be a part of my child's life. I want to spend as much time with my seed as I can, you know. And sometimes I feel like it's not about the child; it becomes about power. You know, I'm gonna show you, this is what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? And because they can't control you, they try to control the situation through the child. You know what I mean? You can't see this, you can't, because I know if I'm no longer with you, I can't piss you off that way anymore. I can't use emotional control over you. But because I know you're emotionally tied to your seed, I'll use that as the weapon to get to you, because I know, you know, I can't get to you no other way. Now, why a person does that, everyone has their own reason. I can't speak for why a person does what they do, but I would love for other people to join the show to, you know, have this open dialogue, because at the end of the day, the child suffers. The child grows up with a conflict. The child doesn't understand how to communicate, how to get along. Why can't these two people, you know, still have healthy conversations or have a healthy relationship? The child don't know the difference, but he sees the pain. He can see the frustration. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and then that's, like I said, that brings up a whole another piece. And like I said, the young lady, you know, I think she spoke on something that was important. She made the point about if the child is a young girl, and you know, by kind of creating that weaponized situation, the young girl now, you know, she now yearns for male attention. Because she has, right. Yeah, she has been essentially has basically is caught in the middle of this disagreement or this spat that's going on between the parents, and it now affects her in the way that she looks at men.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think it affects how men look at women and how men want to treat women, because their dad grew up, you know, now he's angry. And right. As much as a parent tries to hide things from a child records everything that it sees. Right. So in your frustration, you might do your best to see it, but your child still feels that. He still sees that. He still sees the communication or the interaction between y'all two when y'all do interact. You know what I mean? And those things become a muscle, you know? And so those muscles get exercised when they become adults, and then they wonder why they are that way. So it's the effects of weaponizing your children, and then the PTSD that comes from it that affects them in their adulthood. And they don't even know why they're making the choices that they made, but it's something that's deeply rooted in them because it's what they've seen since birth, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, I can understand that. Yeah, man, this is just, I don't know, this this is a serious situation right here, man. Because I said the more we talk about this, man, and I said I'm you know, thinking about what the young lady said on the video, man. This is this almost goes deeper than that, man. Because essentially, like I said, what are you looking to? And shout out to Tony Michaels. We appreciate the support, Tony.
That's the homie. He has his show. Make sure y'all support the Tony Michaels show when he fires it back up. Tony is a famous dancer. Tony is an amazing father, just an amazing person. He's out here in California. Definitely a mentor to mine. I definitely want to shout out and give him roses. Thank you for joining the show tonight. Come join the panel. I know you understand this subject very well. And then any other men, if any other men are just going through this, you know what I mean, or trying to figure this whole scenario out, let's talk. It's not just a woman thing; it's a men thing. How do you guys feel? Any other men going through this situation with a baby mama, or want their children but their children aren't there, or would love a great conversation but don't know how to have the conversation because maybe there's something that you're presenting to the woman where it's a bad conversation from your end. So, ladies, what can we do better as men in this conversation to make this situation healthier? How can we heal? So, what are y'all viewpoints? What is it that we're doing wrong in these situations where you want to keep our children from us? What is it that we can do better? How can we present ourselves? Is there something that we're falling short in that's making you guys so upset where you're like, well, you know what? You're a bad representation. I don't want my child to spend time with. So, I mean, this conversation goes, you know what I mean? It goes multiple ways, Quay, because the bigger point of it is the lasting effects that it has on the children when they become adults, or why they wind up communicating the way they communicate. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and I can understand that. But man, like I said, I don't know, man. This, like I said, to me, it feels like this goes deeper. And like I said, anybody that's down in the comments who has seen a situation like this, or knows somebody who does these types of things, or weaponizes the child that is between the man and the woman, man, definitely chime in. Because like I said, this thing for me, it seems like it just has multiple issues wrapped up in this situation. It feels like the weaponizing of the child is almost the last piece or the outcome. But it seems like there's more issue there prior to that, that never got addressed, right? Or that doesn't get communicated.
Or the after effects. It's like throwing a big rock in the ocean, right? This rock of emotion in the ocean, and then these ripple effects, because now you have two people who can't communicate, and then you have a child in a situation where the child don't know how to communicate. You know what I mean? And the child grows up with this muscle memory of seeing trauma because two people don't know how to get along anymore, or can't do it, or cannot do it, or cannot be big enough people to do it the right way in front of the child to show a great example. You know, because maybe it's what they've saw. You know what I mean? Maybe they're only practicing the muscle that they've seen. Maybe they're still hurting and don't know how to get the emotional help to be able to have that dialogue. I don't know, but I would love the comment section. Hey, you guys educate us. Have you guys seen this? How can we create healthier dialogues for our children? How can parents understand each other, to conversate with each other, so that way the children don't have to suffer or grow up in a toxic world because we're creating a toxic environment for them.
Right. Yeah, Tony dropped a comment. He said, I've been through it, and women think they have ownership of the child because they have given birth, or basically because they've given birth to the child. But Tony, so my question to that is in a situation like that, so the man is in a relationship with the woman, they decide to have a kid. How do we get to a point where those two people can't communicate?
Emotions, upset, dishonesty, no loyalty, no trust, frustration, not taking the time to heal, lack of understanding, lack of patience, lack of grace. The ins and outs of a relationship when people break up. Sometimes people understand how to break up healthy and some people don't, and the things that they saw growing up, what type of relationships did they see? Because if it's no longer about the relationship, because the relationship is no longer, you guys are no longer together, then why put the child through hell? And I think Tony's right. When people have power. So when I went through my scenario and the court awarded Kingy to have to go back with his mother because she had a daughter already, and they didn't want to split up siblings. it became, well, this is my child. Wait, how did our son just become your child? You know what I mean? And I think a power of possession comes with that. I think a power of ownership comes with that. And now, because the child is my kryptonite, we try to use that because we don't know how to heal no other way. So we stay in that toxic nature and not understanding, or maybe possibly understanding, the ramifications of what it does to the child while the child sees that or abuses that. He too young to know anything. He don't know no difference. Actually, he does. Actually, he does record that. But as adults, we forget when we were children. You know what I mean? Have you ever been like, Quay, when I become a parent, I ain't gonna never be like that. I ain't gonna never do this. Oh man, I'm gonna be this and that. Man, mama, I ain't gonna never be nothing like my mom. I ain't gonna be nothing like my dad. I'm gonna do this thing right. And then you find yourself falling into some of the same old habits. Right.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Shout out to I said everybody in the comments. Peter dropped a comment. He said, sometimes, let's see, it's not about a relationship. Sometimes it's about trapping. I know someone close to me that has 4 baby daddies to get those checks, just to get those checks.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair point. People take advantage of people every day, B. That's why we're having this tough conversation,
Man, to see Tony dropped another comment. He said, well, when women are hurt in the relationship, they don't always know what to do with that pain and the hurt the man. Oh, basically, and to hurt the man through the child.
Yeah. Hurt people, Tony, I agree. But what we have to understand is if we could keep passing this negative energy, where is it going? Because it's going somewhere. It just doesn't disappear. You know what I mean? So if the 2 parents are passing this negative energy, well, guess who all that energy is falling on? It's falling on the children. And then they carry that and they harbor that. And then they walk out into the world with that because that's what they were taught. On purpose or not on purpose. It just is what it is. The energy has to go somewhere. And then they transfer that into their relationships or into their communications with their friends or, So it's this hamster wheel. It's this, Napoleon Hill calls it hypnotic rhythm, where we keep passing along the same energy over and over and over again. And then we wonder why we have the results in life that we have. Sometimes we're fighting demons that we don't even know that we're fighting because it was passed on to us through what we saw as children, Right. And sometimes it's in our blind spot. But what would happen if you were able to solve that situation and find the forgiveness to create a healthy environment for your child to grow up in? Would that not have a huge impact on your child's life? What would be the difference?
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's an important piece because this is the thing. I said shout out to Dre Harris. This is the thing, man. I'm trying to understand.
Hey, tell us why you think that's deep, though. Because why you think it's deep, it might be different than Quay, might be different than mine, and your deep might be able to reach out and touch someone else in the audience. So come on the show and talk about why you feel that's deep, Dre, or just put it in the comment section so that way Quay can put it up there because you might ignite a fire in someone else's life. So we need your voice, bro. Sorry, Quay. I apologize.
No, you're all good. See, Tony Michaels, he said, I've worked hard to have 50-50 custody with my son through the court, and I got it. Hold on, we got somebody coming in. Hold on.
I would love to ask Tony, Tony, as a Black man going through that court system, what did it take for you to get that 50-50? What were the ramifications and all the different things that you had to go through for that to happen? Because people don't understand that it's a fight, like for real. It's heartbreaking being told that you can no longer have the same type of custody or care over your child that you've already had, or having that stripped from you, because that comes with a lot of pain. That comes with a lot of problems when your children are being taken from you. That creates resentment. That makes communication even more difficult, So Please elaborate. I would love to know how you did that, because you might be able to help someone else who's going through that process.
Hey.
What's going on? Let me give Peter's comment. He says some women don't want to solve it, though, because then they can, because then they can live so-called independent. Okay, I can understand that, Peter. And then also Tony dropped another comment. He said, yo, how can I join y'all and talk? And let me, hold on one sec, Tony. Let me see if I can get you this link, man. Let me see if I got a way to Tony real quick. How you doing, Chloe?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Chloe, what's going on? What you think about the topic today?
It's a good topic. I mean, obviously I'm not in this situation, but I have known people who have been. I've known men, unfortunately, in my experience, it's typically men that had this problem. So I just kind of wanted to be here as a female voice, but I can't say that I can relate, because I'm not wired that way. I was really hoping there would be some more women that would speak to kind of like the mindset behind this. I think at the end of the day, um, I just struggle trying to understand the female mind that can be okay with potentially harming their children emotionally and mentally in this way. I really kind of, I can't say that I can relate, but I definitely want to be able to be a female voice. Hopefully, I can learn something tonight too from this conversation.
Chloe, you said you saw situations like that. What did you see?
hmm Well, similar to like what Tony is saying, how he actually went and he got custody. I've known men who have done that. They've gone because it was important. It's important to them, so they've gone the route to be able to legally have time with their kids, thinking that, okay, I got it, it's official, it's legal. I got this piece of paper that says I can see my child, at these times with this regularity. And there have been times where they still run into issues where the parent that's withholding, and in those cases, it's been the woman in those situations is withholding them from still being able to see their children, even
Right.
while having these legal
Documents.
documents in place.
Mhm.
So I think that speaks volumes, because what do you do at that point, right?
Right.
It can leave a lot of men feeling, hopeless. And I think we always want to talk about the scenario of the deadbeat dad, but we don't talk enough about the dad who wants to be in the child's life, but is unable to do so. And then sometimes those dads are forced to walk away, not because they want to, but because they've been put in those situations. And from my understanding, um, not all law enforcement is willing to back up that paper.
Right.
So,
Very true.
that's the unfortunate situation that a lot of fathers are being put in.
Chloe, how do you think that affects the child?
Well, I don't see how the child would end up with some type of, you know, we all have something we're carrying around, some type of baggage of something from our childhood. Our parents weren't perfect, we're not perfect, but I can see how that would create some type of emotional void. Like I can see how it would create a void in that child's life that I think you might have even spoke to it, King, earlier. You create these voids in a child's life, and the young woman said it too. Like
Right.
if it's a girl, and she wants that dad. She need for women, our dad is like the first man we ever loved, right? Like
Mm.
he teaches us what like
Mm.
love feels like, like that's the first should be healthy relationship that we experience as women. So not having that that's why you see a lot of women who don't grow up with their fathers, why you see those dependencies that they have on the male relationship. So they'll develop these dependencies to always want to have a man around, and sometimes it's not even the right kind of man, but it's just a man in general, you know, because they just want that affection, the affection that they're missing from that father role that they didn't have in their life. And then the same thing with a man. Like a young man does need, you know, I'm not saying, I know there's a lot of single moms out there. I'm not taking anything away from the wonderful job that they've done. I'm just simply saying that influence is important. That
Right.
second parent, whether it's a young lady to her dad or a young man to his father, like that influence in their lives is important. They need that second role. They need that balance.
Right.
And when that's missing, it does cause sometimes, and it varies from person to person how much they'll be impacted in what way. But there's always some baggage that comes from that. There's always a void that you're left sort of, you know, trying to fill.
Right.
Let me grab this comment real quick. So we got a comment here. It says, this is not only on women. Sometimes when the relationship with the woman is off the table, the father has an increase in the pain/loss they feel when seeing the child and don't wish to see the child. This is hurtful to the woman and the child.
Very
The
true.
mother will be protective as a result of this. And yeah, no, at least I can see that. I can see that. I just this is the part that I'm trying to understand. So I said two people get in a relationship, you know, they doing whatever they do. You know, a kid comes out of the situation. They get to the point where, you know, something's not working or what have you. My question is, why does the situation have to go so bad? Like, so it was good when we was doing what we was doing. It was good when we was, you know, booed up, whatever you want to call it. But now, you know what I'm saying, we're in a situation where the relationship has ran its course, or whatever you want to call it. And I just sometimes I want to understand, why does it have to go so negative?
Right.
Like, why is that? Like, why can't you separate as associates, or why can't, you know, I'm not gonna even say friends. That's probably pushing it, but some people can, right? Some people separate and they turn into good friends. They just no longer a couple.
Right.
But I just always wonder, why does it have to go so bad to the point where we are now affecting the children or the offsprings from that relationship? What's going on with you, Tony?
Hey, what's up? Thank you guys for letting me join.
Oh yeah.
What's
Thank you,
up,
Tony.
man? What's going on, man? I'm glad that I came on here. I love what she was saying right there. And I have some really good information that I just want to share with you guys. You know, my story is really long, but one of the things that I learned in this whole process was, first of all, a lot of times women they just tend to feel like they have ownership. I was married for 10 years. I was
Okay.
married for 10 years, and we had a son, and it just didn't work out. And after 7 or 8 years, we just needed to file for divorce. And the problem I ran into a ton of problems with the court because they weren't used to someone like me. Now, I'm a black man. I live in LA. And they just were not used to me wanting 50-50. And to kind of piggyback on some of the things that the young lady said, what I learned was that a lot of men, especially men of color, black men and Latino men, they don't really know their rights. But a lot of men have the same rights that women have, but they don't know that they have those rights.
Big
They don't
facts.
have, you know what I'm saying? Women use the whole, I'm going to get you for child support, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And men, I learned in this process, I saw a ton of young dudes. And I'm old, you know, I'm 50 now, but it happened, we filed it right around 40, when I was 42, 43. And if I didn't know how to just get out there and hustle and grind and fight for my son, I would have fell into the same category that they fell into, which was court. Like she was saying some men have court papers and they can see their kids and all these things they thought that was done correctly. If they go to court and they go for 50-50 and they really say I want 50-50, then they can't get that. Now, I'm a celebrity choreographer. I've worked with Beyonce. I've worked with everybody. I was on the road working when I finally started doing this, and I had to actually slow up everything to go ahead and have the relationship with my son and have him. He's been living with me for the last 7 years, 8 years. He lives with me from Sunday through Thursday morning. He lives with his mom from Thursday morning to Sunday. We live about 5 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes apart from each other in Burbank, California, which is right on the outskirts of LA, right on the backside of LA, really close or whatever. But I had to go in that court and fight for the paperwork has to be legit. And what I know that most men didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. You know, so a lot of times I really want to put a pamphlet together to inform men of their rights. And I had a really close friend that was he's an actor, but he's also a police officer for the North Hollywood district in LA. So I was having issues. I called him, and he told me because now of course I was married, so I carry a little more authority than the guy that's not married, the guy that's got a girl, that guy that's, they've been together 8 years, but they never got married. But he told me, he said, you have as much rights, 50% of those rights as she does until you guys go to court. And once you go to court, then you fight there. I didn't want, when I walked into the court and we filled out the paperwork, and they said, okay, first of all, who's going to do visitations? I said, no one will do visitations. Both of us agreed that he would live with me and her. And we had to.
What do you do about that, Tony, when there is an agreement in that situation, though,
Then you have, and a lot of times, that's a great question. That's a great question, because a lot of times you have to, you still have to stand for what you want. You have to stand for it. You have to fight for it. And a lot of times, either your attorney will fight for you and say, look, we got to have it this way. And believe it or not, the courts are biased toward the women. They are on the women's side, and they really are, and it's bad. It's really, really, really bad.
It is.
But I saw so much go on. I've got almost thrown out of the court, letting them know this will not be happening to me. This is you're not used to this kind of guy. Now, but I had to fight Kang. I had to fight Carlos a lot for what I wanted, where I wanted it to be, how I wanted it to be, and she didn't agree with some of the stuff. And believe it or not, dude, I went back to court 4 times. Okay. 4 times we went back to court, and a lot of the stuff was her shenanigans. It was a lot of not wanting. A lot of times women don't want to let go. And listen to me. I understand that there's a lot of butt heads out there for sure. But we are in a different world now, man. And there is at least 20 to 30, I would say 20% of especially black males that are in their kids' life, want to be in their kids' lives, and have to fight daily for that.
That's a stereotype that I think people have put out there. You know what I'm saying? With the black highlight, the black men don't want to be in their children's life, which is super false. I think the difference in the equation is when you have to go through the justice system that isn't written for the black man to be able to fight for his children to be in their life, then you're going to have a lower percentage because it's not made for you anyway. When I fight for King, Tony, you got to go through the evaluation, right? Where you got to play with your child, and then they look how you conduct yourself with your child and stuff, right? So the lady that I was doing it with was pregnant. And I'm like, how in the world is she going to give me a fair evaluation to say that my child should be with me, and she's withholding her child? There's no woman who's pregnant with the child growing inside her body is going to tell another woman that she shouldn't have her child with her. But the deck is so stacked. These are different situations that we face. Yeah. Like my son was born in California, but my son lives in South Carolina. Cool. Now the order says that we're supposed to split certain, flights, money on certain things. I pay for it all because I love my child like that. You know what I mean? And in spite of still me paying for it all, I'm still going through certain parts of hell. You know what I'm saying? To be able to see my child, to be able to Skype my child, to be able to talk to my child, to have influence on my child, you know what I mean? and he's still used sometimes as a pawn. And I wanted to have a healthy conversation, not a blaming conversation, because when you just get on here and you just blame and you just point fingers, there's no growth.
That's exactly right.
There's no growth at all. So it's not about me. It's not about her. It's how can we correct this as a culture to have more healthy dialogue so that way our children can grow up in more healthy environments.
I'm gonna tell you something. It's one of the problems. It is what it is. I love when you say healthy dialogue, because a lot of times, and I'm not putting the blame on anybody. I'm talking about my experience, and I'm sharing with you also. So many young dudes that I saw. I mean, so many guys in those courts that were just devastated over different things. They didn't know how to ask for. They didn't know what to say.
Right.
A lot of times when you're trying to have that healthy conversation about what do we do? How do we make these decisions? Of course, your emotions are all involved because you love your child. You're trying to prove that you love your child just like this woman loves your child.
Right.
And that in itself is terrible. I have to say, man, I had a really rough time. I had to really just fight. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not blaming his mom. I'm not blaming women in general. But what I do know and what I did learn was that women use children as tools. I saw that in so many different ways. And I constantly got to the point where I was like, listen, this is not about neither one of us. It's about what's best for him, whatever that is, man. And at times we couldn't even get past that. It became tit for tat until it just, with the courts, the courts proved to them, and they really were like, we ain't never seen nobody like you. Like, I stopped my whole career pretty much. I mean, I still choreograph, and I got the podcast going on, but I don't travel no more, and I worked with everybody. Like you know what I'm saying? I was just moving, but I was dead on being in my son's life.
That you have to stop all of that, Tony. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. I want to give a big shout out to women because there's a lot of single mothers out there doing amazing jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
My mom is a single mother. You know what I mean? So I don't want women to watch the show and try to allow the spirit of manipulation to think that it's just woman bashing.
Right.
It's just this, not that. Right. It's about how do we get healthy dialogue so that way our children can have healthier lives, because we have our own, like Chloe was talking about, everyone has their own personal traumas already. Why do we need to stack the deck against us being Black in America?
Right. That's right.
You know what I mean?
I wound up getting therapy, man. I had therapy. When we went through divorce, we had divorce therapy for all three of us. That became a tool that she also used. So that became negative on the end. It just really was. I listen to me, man. It's not about bashing anybody, but I really think that, especially, and I have to say this because I've been wanting to say this for so long, in the Black community, we constantly say there are so many deadbeat dads. We constantly degrade. We talk about the deadbeat dads all the time. Okay, they are there. But I found in this situation that I was in and others that I saw, we love our moms. Our mothers are the soul and the heart of the Black community because they wear everybody stands on their shoulders. And I'm not taking that away. I was raised by a single mom. I have a twin sister and I have an older sister. So I'm extremely close to women. But what I will say, man, is that we put them on such a high pedestal. We don't think that there's deadbeat moms out there. We don't think that there's moms that really, really do wrong. We can't even consciously come to the understanding that, wait a minute, there are some moms out there that are a mess. Just like there are some dads out there a mess. And so I really kind of struggle with, I had to get, especially when we went through this Black Lives Matter, everything that started going on all last year, I had to really come to the understanding and say, because I didn't want to deal with his mom on a daily basis. We constantly we had an understanding. We drop him off, we pick him up, and he and I have an amazing relationship. He's my best friend. He's 15 now.
We have a dope relationship.
We've been close forever. But I will say I had to come to the understanding and say, wait a minute, this still is a Black woman in America. How do I try to put away that pain and hurt that I experienced and that she inflicted on me, and still try to show my son that you still got to love someone and you still got to care for the Black woman. So I was going through a lot, but I still will say, man, we still got to we need to have that sit down talk in the Black community about moms that are deadbeat, just like dads are. And if we come to that, we've got to come to that understanding and that conversation, and then understand where do we go from there. If you got two people that are hurt and they trying to show their love to their kid, man, but they're hurt amongst each other, they've got to not be selfish and say, let's focus on the child.
Yeah. And how do we get there? Oh, not to be all in your business, Tony, but because you said you went through so much. How did you create a peaceful conversation with, your ex? You know what I mean?
True.
For you guys to be able to have that type of dialogue, not to put that in front of your son so he sees that type of stuff.
Yeah, true.
It's still a work in progress.
It's still a work in progress, because what happens sometimes is that as my son has got older, my son is experiencing things that I experienced with her. And so, because he is also a male, so he loves his mom. But we just had an amazing talk a couple days ago about some things. And what I had to do was I kind of, man, stay low. And I could be loud as I don't know what. I could be loud as hell. But I try to stay low and try to approach it in more of a thoughtful way, and say, and deal with her when there's issues that's bothering him that he can't seem to talk to her about. I try to bring it to her in a different way. I try to keep that open path. Now, every so often I might say something that she disagrees with and I disagree with, and then we leave it at that. Where we just, maybe 2 months ago we had a disagreement, and I was like, I'm not for that. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it. And and she was bothered by it too. It was actually something going on with school, and I handled it the way I went on here to handle it. I I try to co-parent as much as I can, but when I can't co-parent and I have to step out, because I'm raising a young Black male in America. This is very, it's you know what I'm saying? I have to build him up and make him strong and keep him strong. And so man, we so right now we're good. Every so often we might have a little friction, but we try to keep that friction at a minimum when it comes to Cross. His name is Cross, of course, you know that, King.
Right,
Carlos.
I know that, but just for the audience to know,
Yeah, but the young lady was getting ready to say something. What were you getting ready to say?
Go ahead, Chloe.
Oh no, I just really wanted kind of to say thank you, by the way, Tony, for saying all that. And I want to kind of piggyback on what you said. Like, I don't understand why we can't have the conversation about the woman's role in this. Like, obviously we know this isn't every woman, and we certainly aren't here to bash like single moms who unfortunately have been put in a situation where they now have to own both roles. Like, we're certainly not talking about them.
Absolutely,
we're talking about the women who have a choice, the women who have fathers that want to be in the child's life. That's what we're talking about. And I think for me, as I always kind of play that role, because I am a woman, and obviously I'm not in this situation, okay? But as a woman, and as a woman who's known men very closely, these are men in my family who have been in this situation, so watching them go through it, I can say, why is it not okay? Like, why do we have to cushion it or disclaimer it? Why are women so triggered when we talk about this? We always hear about the deadbeat dad. Women have no problem getting on social media talking about their baby daddies. They have no problem, posting about it, talking about it. Every time they get with their girls, they want it's a topic of conversation. But then when men say, I'm struggling with, trying to see my kids, like, I just want to see my kids, like, I go over there, she tell me I can see them, and then I go over there, and that when that young woman said that at the beginning of the video, I've known men who've done that, got ready to go get their kids, get all the way to the house, and she like, no, not today. I got something I want to do with them today. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. I just want to know, why can't we have honest dialogue and hold women accountable, and women be accountable. Like, know that this is happening. You know this is happening. It's a real thing. If you can talk about the deadbeat dad, then we have to talk about the mom who's using her child as a bargaining chip. We know it happens. Like, it's a real thing. Don't be triggered. Don't want to always, oh no, but what about the other? No, we talk about the other a lot. We talk about the deadbeat dad a lot. Now it's time to talk about the mom. Moms, stop using your kids as a pawn. It's not a game. This is a life we're talking about.
Chloe, I flew all the way to South Carolina to pick up King. Paid for the tickets, everything. Got there, and she refused to give me my child. It took me 2 weeks to be able to see my son. I'm like, yo, you ain't paid for no ticket. This money ain't came out your pocket. You ain't missing no time from work. I flew all the way across the country from California to South Carolina to get my child, and you really gonna keep my son from me? I paid every summer, every trip, every time. Don't ask for nothing for you. My son gets whatever he needs. I make sure he got it. And I still have to go through this craziness, even with court paperwork. And the sad thing about it is, it shouldn't take for someone else to tell us to do the right thing.
Right. You know what? Can I say something? Wait, I'm gonna what's his face? Quay? Am I right? Is it Quay?
Yeah.
I saw you going to say something. I want to step over what you were going to say.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna run some of these comments, man. We got some comments stacking up real quick. Let me run through some of these real fast, and then you can go ahead, man. Peter said, let's see, we also have to take into account that the court system is very skewed. If you think of it in a business, basically in a business perspective, women are the main consumers, 80% of the economy. Men don't really spend money, they invest because they have to figure life out from day one. Okay, so I can understand that, Peter. We got a comment from Dre Harris. He says, if co-parenting does not include friendship, one side is definitely holding a grudge. We don't have to be best friends, but should work hard to have a friendly relationship. It takes genuine effort from both sides together. Compromise is needed in marriage as well as divorce and couples who have split, basically couples who have split before marriage, which I agree with that, Dre.
That was dope, Dre.
Yeah, Talisa says, let's see, this may be past experiences. The courts are in very much support of fathers these days as of 2019. In Oakland County at least. She said she did stay in Oakland County at least, so that's up here in Michigan. And then she also said she's hearing one narrative. Is this the case with everyone?
No.
You guys go ahead.
That's why.
Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry. So go.
This because I don't want to drop it. First of all, the courts are not. In fact, let me tell you something. I'm talking. My son is 15 now. I started this process when he was 7, and we went back to court 2 years ago for some stuff. I could two things. Is I'm gonna answer her stuff and your stuff. Something that you said, Carlos. The courts are built in because they've listened to so much. They've dealt with so many daddies that were a mess. So many daddies that didn't do the right thing. So when you come into court, they feel like here comes another one and another one. And they have built their whole system on women. Women, one thing I can say, they're there. They are supportive. They are there. You can depend upon. They're dependable. And in court, that's what it has shown. She might feel that way up in Oakland a little bit, but I live in LA, and I'm telling you, it was such a fight. I mean, so many times. I had one time where eventually the court, it was interesting. We would deal with our attorney. We would deal with our attorneys outside of court and pay them to do our process for us. Hers would do hers and mine would do mine. And then when we were going to court, the court date, we wouldn't take the attorneys, neither time. Eventually, one time, she wound up bringing her attorney without me knowing that she was going to bring her attorney. So when I got there, I had some stuff stacked up against her that I was extremely concerned about. Now remember, I grew up with a single mom, and my single mom was mentally disabled, and I was eventually taken away from my mom. I know what it means to not have a mother and a father, but I know what it means to be taken away from your mother. So my goal was never to do that. She wanted to prove to the court it was. And so eventually we got into that courtroom and she had an attorney. Well, after the attorney presented everything and tried to make me look bad, which is a normal, usual thing, the court was, the judge was like, wait, this guy has no records. He's done everything right for his son the last 5-6 years. Every time y'all been to court, I can see this. Why can't we do this or why can't we do that? And eventually what happened was I got so upset in that meeting, tears just started rolling down my face because I realized I could have brought my attorney too, but I didn't because I didn't know she was going to bring. She was trying to get back at me in a different way. See, there we go again. She's still trying to work at me. We're not still working as a team for our son. So eventually the judge said something to me that was so it let me know that the judge saw that I was really a true father, been there. I've been through everything with my son and I cared. She said, listen, I want you to know that anything that this other attorney has said doesn't count out anything that you have said because you don't have representation today. So everything that you say, I'm taking account. If it's anything that you don't want to do, let's try some of these things that you want to do. Let's try some of the things that she wants to do for a year. If it doesn't work, we can bring it back. I said, okay, cool. I'm saying so she worked in that manner, but in a lot of instances, the courts are just biased, and it's mostly a lot of women judges too. And I'm not saying it was just a lot of women judges, and I was like, whoa. I had one woman just tell me they had to just stop me in court. The bailiff was like, sit down, and I was like, listen, you guys are not used to this. You're used to guys coming up here and talking bull crap, but here is a real father, a real black man, a real that has stopped everything to make sure his son is supplied, stabilized, has a stable place to live, and all those things. And this is how you treat us. So, and then the other thing, Carlos, is that I was saying, I do know that court. I had a situation with my ex over. It was over. I wanted to make sure I got all my stuff, my paperwork in order. Birthdays, holidays, vacations, extra time, all of that, because I knew it seemed as though she was becoming picky. I could see it. And I wanted everything in writing. Well, what I didn't realize is that it was my Easter, and we didn't get in writing for Easter and 4th of July that we get our child the day before, because for the holidays, Thanksgiving, for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, you get them a day before toward the evening, like 7 o'clock. So it could be a full out day. And so on a Saturday, I was getting ready to come and get him. She didn't say nothing the whole day. I kept texting her. I'll be to get him at 5. Okay. And I'm texting him, make sure you got everything together. Well, about 7:30, I was supposed to get him. I'm sorry, it wasn't 5, it was 7. 7 o'clock, I'm getting ready to come and get him. She says, wait a minute, it doesn't say that in the papers. I said, what are you talking about? We've been doing this for like 3 years now. What are you talking about? No, this is your Easter, but you don't get him until tomorrow. I was like, whoa. This just happened like 2 years ago. I go back to my papers, and then I call my attorney, and we get on a FaceTime, and we look at everything. And he says, well, Tony, what she's looking at is that it says for Christmas and Thanksgiving, all other holidays, you get your holiday, but you usually get them the day of the holiday, like 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning. And so he said, and that's what she's holding against you. He said, so what you can do is at 12 midnight, you can say, I'm coming to get him. Instead of 7 o'clock, you can say, I'm coming to get him at 12 midnight. You can get him. He said, you may want to call the police, and the police will escort you, because that's in my paperwork too. You can go and call the police, and they can escort you when it's your time. If you feel that it's going to be a violent interaction, or what they call an exchange. So he said, the only thing is that you don't really want to get him at 12 midnight because it makes you look bad now, because you in the benefit of the child, you want to make sure that he's not up in the middle of the night.
You wake him up out of sleep.
Absolutely. So then I said, okay, I'll get him at 5 in the morning. So I text her. I said, if you do not have, I said, okay, I see what you're saying. We have to go back to court so we can get this taken care of as well. And so I said, I will be there at 5 o'clock. If I'm not there, if you are still tripping like this, I will bring the police with me.
But the
point
came.
The five. So I called my homie in North Hollywood. He said, Tony, I can get you a Burbank police. If you feel like it's going to be an exchange, a violent exchange, or exchange that is argumentative or anything like that. And I said, okay, fine. So then at 5, I went to go get him, and guess what? She didn't answer the door. Right? So 5 o'clock, 5:15. Now at 5:05, I saw the lights turn off in her apartment. Right? So then I drive all the way back home. And I said, I'll wait till 6 o'clock, and then I'm going to call the police, and then we'll go back over there together. And then about 5:25, I called, and my son picked up, and he was just waking up. He was like, we were asleep, Daddy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm on my way right now. So I got over there at 5:30, and I got him. But she pulled that out the hat because she was mad at something that happened. She was mad at something that happened. Now, and that's a continuous thing. And what I think about men is that most of the times men, once they get rolling with the whole situation and how it goes, we get a routine down, and we lock it in. We don't get upset about you doing extra stuff or anything like that, but she did. So I think paperwork is essential, and define paperwork. I mean, really cross every T, dot every I. You picking him up at 7 a.m.? Yes. You dropping off at 7 p.m.? Yes. I have the 4th of July, 24 hours with him. You have Christmas Eve. I have Christmas Day. We had to go through that. Then one time we had a situation with the birthday. And I said, it says right here, you guys decide who will have him first, but you guys split the holiday, split the birthday. So it's like 12 hours. She was like, no, it fell on my day. So it's, man, I really think that as individuals, as Black men and women, we have to say, wait, it is about the child. And to me, a lot of that becomes about selfishness. It's just selfish. You know what I'm saying? It's just selfish. Like, I don't care if you're dating another dude, I don't care anything. Of course, but he can't raise my son now. Don't get it twisted. So I think it's about selfishness, and I think that people become very, a lot of times women, unfortunately, and women don't want, and that's what I'm saying. We don't want to fess up because we honor our Black women. I honor my mom. She's been passed for 2 years now, but I honor my mom. I honor my twin sister and my older sister. What I do know, though, in the Black community is that they are held so high up and respected, and they deserve all of that. But at the same time, there are some damaging things that they've done, especially when it comes to rearing children, that we have to start facing and have to see, just like there's deadbeat dads, there's deadbeat moms out there.
Right.
There's a
I mean,
lot.
sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think I saw a comment about trying to work it out outside of the court. I think that's the ideal situation. Like, I think that would be the preferred situation. But I've had family members who have tried it that way. Like, they've gone into it like, let's try it, right? Okay, so they got a verbal agreement. I'll get them this day. You have them, and sometimes it starts out looking like it might be okay and it might work. But like Tony said, all it takes is for somebody to get upset. All it takes is for somebody to get upset, or you don't do something they want you to do, or you don't do it fast enough, or something like that. And then that's where the pettiness is going to start. Okay, well, you told me I could have them. I'm coming to get them. Well, not today. And then you go a few times with that, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to have to get something legal, because if this word of mouth is, this verbal thing is not working. Now I'm going to have to actually get something on paper that can be reinforced, because right now it's we're trying to do the friendly thing, and
it doesn't work.
At least it doesn't work. So I've seen this happen, like I said, with family members more than once, where they tried to do we just gonna try to make it amicable, and it just doesn't work. It just takes for one person, just takes one time. Somebody get mad, get in their feelings, and it's done. Like, the piece is gone, and now that whole thing, it just won't work. So, I think that ideally, who wants to have to bring the courts in? But sometimes it just is no way around it.
You're right. I had to make sure. I kept saying I would threaten. She was like, "You always threaten me with the court." I said, "Because you're doing the wrong thing." And what was interesting is that some of the things that she would do, we had a situation where we had to go to mediation after the second year because we wanted some changes that she was doing. And I was like, this is not correct. You're not sticking to what the paperwork is saying. So we went to mediation. And when we got to mediation, the mediator was biased for a minute. And then she said, how would you feel if he did what you did to him? And I told the mediator, I said, you know what? If I was doing what she's done to me, you guys would take my son away from me completely. I know that for a fact. So the mediator had to make her think about it. And I really kind of kept the courts constantly adhere to everything that was going on. And I constantly would run back to my paperwork and make sure. A lot of men don't realize they have so many rights. They have so many rights. And that's why I said, I really want to write a pamphlet on it, because something that informs them of all their rights. They don't know what they have and it becomes, I don't know if people realize this is as emotional for me. I don't know if it's for all men, but I definitely know that the tide is changing. Like I said, it's about at least 20% of men out here, black men, that, I mean, just like a woman, she loves her child, she's birthed that child, she's carried that child for 9 months. Man, let me tell you something. I will go to war for my child, and I feel just like she feels when something is hurting. So it always feels like the man is not as connected to the child as the woman is because she carried him. That right there is some BS. So I think that if women and men have got to sit down and come to the grips with that and be able to settle in their own self. Hey, it didn't work out, but let's do something correct for the child. And a lot of times, at least 90% of the time, you need the courts to help you, because if you don't, and I'm not saying this in a negative way toward women, but most of the time it is the women that keep that weaponry there, that authority there. No, you can't get them. No, I'm gonna take all your money. You're gonna pay child support. You're gonna do this. You can't have them here. You can't. I used to look at her and say, "Oh, you kidding me? Like, you're crazy, right?"
Well,
just like you think, that's my kid, just like it's your kid.
Here's the thing, right? Men have made women that way to a certain extent as well.
Okay,
right?
But
and what I mean by that in this scenario, right? Other men have made it hard for the good men.
That's exactly right.
And other men's situations have been monopolized,
right,
and
absolutely.
have been hit with the black highlight. And that's why you always hear about, from any race, not just our race, the deadbeat black dad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's bigger than any other race, than white, Asian, Mexican, whatever you want to go. The black father missing in the home has been narratives in movies, has been narratives in music, have been narratives in a lot of different things. And it's because you got a lot of no good niggas out there too that don't do their job.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. But
those people have made it hard, Tony, on men like me and you.
Right.
The dads who don't want to show up, the dad that gets paid but then lies and says he's getting paid under the table, and that way child support can't take the money for the child. The dads who don't want to step up to the plate and pay child support. The dad who only wants to send money and don't want to do the responsibilities of actually spending time, because spending time is way more valuable than just the check. The dad that doesn't want to show up, or the false promises, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. The dad who don't want to do the things that you've done, who've sacrificed a career to be able to get that time with their child. The dads who don't want to fly from California across the world to get their child and make sure that their child knows, hey, I love you too. The dads who just say, you know what, fuck this, I'm giving up. It's too hard. Right. I don't want to keep fighting. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep going through this. Or hell, I just want to be a player. I just want to wild out. I don't want to have a responsibility. That's not my child. I'm not taking a DNA test. I'm not this, and don't care what the test says.
Yeah.
So people like that have made it difficult. And the difference is majority of the time, legally, I won't even say legally, but majority of the time, most men leave and women are stuck with the kids.
And you know what? Can I say something when you say that? What I say to that, and it's true, everything that you're saying is correct. But remember, this conversation, we're not talking about the BS dads. I ain't talking about them because I know they're out there.
Right. I'm just balancing the conversation, though. You know what I mean?
I got you.
I know us on the panel, we understand that we're just talking about good fathers who want to be in their children's life, right? That's because we're on the panel and we understand this, and this is the conversation that we're presenting. But for the audience who are listening and digesting what we're saying, I just want to keep reinforcing that the portion of this conversation that we are sectioning off are about specifically good dads that do want to do the right thing, that are not allowed to do the right thing, or vice versa. You know what I mean? And how do we fix the conversation for the betterness of the child? Because whether the mom and dad get along or not, the ramifications still end up on the child, and the damage that it does to the child, and that children carry that into their adulthood, and they continue passing the seed on. So how do we fix that?
The mother has to stop using it. The mother has to stop even. It shouldn't be a thought of that's the weapon I'm going to use. We can't stop that. We can try to have the conversation about it, but until we realize that this is something that women continuously do, and they use it a lot, we're not going to get it to a place where we can literally kind of level off and come to and start looking at some suggestions and some things that we can add to it.
Yeah,
But they're always,
I think that's part of it. I think that having these types of conversations opening up this dialogue is a step in the right direction. I think, I'm just never, I mean, you guys are used to me by now, but I'm never the one that wants to, even as a woman, when we're talking about women, and I think it's because I'm a woman. Ladies, you're not going to get me to campaign for you. I'm not going to campaign for you. I'm not. Because it's wrong. Guess what? It's wrong. We know that deadbeat dads exist, okay? We are always talking about deadbeat dads. I have to drill this in. Ladies, if you need somebody to pet you up and tell you that it's okay every 5 minutes when we are basically looking at you saying, own your stuff, that's your problem. I'm not going to pet you up. I'm not going to rub your back. I'm not going to make it okay for you. Ladies, I'm saying, if you are someone who does this, you're wrong. You are wrong. And just because there are men out here that are deadbeats doesn't mean that you take a dad that wants to be in his child's life. So that means he's not a deadbeat. That doesn't mean that for the deadbeats, you take the man that is showing you that he wants to be in his child's life and you punish him for the deadbeats. That's not okay. We don't do that. And I'm not going to disclaimer. I'm not going to make it okay for you. I'm not going to placate you. I'm not going to play up to you. Put your big girl drawers on. It's time for you to own your stuff. It's not okay, ladies. Stop wanting these men to make it okay for you. Stop wanting society to make it okay for you. At the end of the day, this has been going on for far too long, and you need to stop it. Stop. I have seen these men that I'm talking about are family members, close family members, and I've seen them have to go through this. Stop it, ladies. It's horrible. And then you want to turn around and you want men to treat you a certain way, and the black woman is unprotected and nobody wants to, she's disrespected and she's all this. And I'm not saying that all of this is not true. I'm a black woman. I felt disrespect. I felt the lack of protection. But ladies, you have to understand that there's some stuff that as a community, as women, we got to deal with. There's some stuff we got to own. And we're not owning it. Every time somebody asks us to own something, we go, well, what about the guys? And it's the guys have stuff. They have plenty of stuff they have to work on. But we can't fix their problems for them. What we can do is work on ourselves. We can work on ourselves. And this is a conversation about women weaponizing black women, white women, Asian women, whatever group you belong to. This is about women using their children as a weapon, and it's flat out wrong because the person that suffers in this situation is the child. Is the child. What I'm saying is, how messed up can you be? How messed up can you be to sacrifice your child emotionally and mentally for your own stuff? Lady, you have to own it. Stop wanting to always point the finger at the other person. Sometimes you have to own it. This is about account. It's 2021, baby.
Accountability.
It's 2021. We're still doing the same stuff. It's over. It's done. Dead. I'm never gonna get on this show and ever campaign for a woman's right to withhold her child from a dad that wants to be in his life because deadbeat dads exist.
Right.
It's
what I'm saying with that, Chloe, is because I know Tony had brought up the court system and how biased it is. It's biased because of what they've done. And now the good men have to pay a crazy price.
That's true.
A crazy price. And the crazy thing about it is, I think Dre had brought it up earlier. Why can't we come to the understanding and have a conversation about, about how we can do better with our child, about the example that we want to set? Why would we want to set up our legacy for failure? over selfishness and ego and pride of what a piece of paper says. Of course. And let me say this, Dre, since you said it that way. I believe sometimes whoever gets the piece of power from the courtroom can become the manipulator of the child. You know what I mean? And they can manipulate the other person because they're the person in the position of power. And when people are getting put in position of power, whether it be man or female, they can manipulate it where they can be demonizing to the other parent, and they take advantage of that situation to deny the other parent access to that child. Now, if the other parent is irresponsible, a threat to the child, all these other different things, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
No.
Okay, so let's be clear. We're not talking about that. It could be man or woman, whoever has the jurisdiction over the child. But what we're talking about is two grown adults being able to get along, to have a conversation. You ain't got to be best friends. You ain't got to talk every day, but you can at least be cordial, and set that example in front of your child so your child can know what a proper, respectful relationship looks like. That's what the conversation is about.
You know what? I have to give it up for, because Chloe was saying something that it meant when you a lot of times it takes, like you said, Chloe, it takes both of them to make that decision, to come to a decision to say, okay, this is in the best interest of the child. And I have to admit, my ex-wife, we got in that court and we said 50-50, period. She never fought that she said, okay, I'm agreeing to us to go 50-50. Now, most women don't agree. I fought the 50-50 situation. Still, I had to fight, because what happened was I said 50-50. A lot of people think that what happens is whatever parent makes the decision to get visitation, there's a parent that is, sometimes they go sole custody, and then the other parent becomes the parent that gets visitation, usually weekends most of the time. But a lot of men don't understand that they have an opportunity to also be. Most of the times, the court doesn't want either parent to not be in the child's life. So 50-50 is the ideal thing, but everybody has to agree about the whole terms of the 50-50. Where you're gonna live, if you're gonna make a decision with school. Like I got stuff in writing where I can't make a decision about him being a different doctor until she agrees, and vice versa. So that way, we're constantly both in his life and making decisions together in his life. We're even written down. Like, you really have to take the time to do that. So that's what we did. And that's what, she was like, okay, I'll do the 50-50, but what does the 50-50 consist of? And so we had to go through that process. And a lot of men just don't know that. And Carlos, you said something too before Chloe spoke. You said a lot of men give up. Man, let me tell you something. Some of the stuff that I was going through, I promise you, I've always been a fighter. Mm-hmm. I love my son, and all I had to do is keep thinking about my son, because some of the things that I had went through, dude, I would cry. I cried in front of the court because they were just untrue. They were untruths. They were just pure lies. And I didn't leave, but I've lost a lot to be able to gain a lot when it comes to raising my son. I wanted to be in his life constantly. But a lot of men walk away because it's just too much, man. It just becomes, I would never walk away, but I understand. I told myself I would never judge another man about walking away, stepping away, because the damage becomes inflicted on you, becomes emotionally, and sometimes it's physical, but a lot of times it's emotional. And being Black men and trying to work through this thing we call life is a whole different game. And then we're fighting someone that's supposed to be somewhat on our side while we're fighting the world. So that's why a lot of men give up. A lot of men just give up.
It's a lot of emotional trauma that comes from all parties, but most importantly, the child. See, the thing about it is, as adults, is you have opportunities as adults to work it out. You have opportunities to say, hey, how can we fix this? How can we make this better? That child ain't got no choice in that matter. And then you put the child into the situation where he has to almost choose. And people raise people differently. People view the world differently. And based off of how you raise the child or whatever else affects the child when they get out there into the world.
That's right.
From conversations, from how they handle problems, from how they address problems.
That's right.
No disrespect to women. Women have done an amazing job doing the best that they can do to teach their child how to be an adult. But it still takes a real man. Notice what I said in this sentence, a real man, to teach a man how to be a man. Because you ain't never experienced it. So how can you teach somebody how to be something that you've never been? And it's no disrespect. I can't teach a woman what to do on a period because I've never had a period. That's ignorant.
Right. That's
But
right.
yet I'm going to keep you away from her who have all those gems, all those jewels on how to deal with this scenario. That only hurts the child. That only sets the child up for failure because there's already enough stress that we have to deal with in this thing called life. Why would we want to put ourselves behind the eight ball? So before I go in, and we do our closing remarks, Chloe, did you have any things that you wanted to say to the audience about this topic? And I think this is a topic that we should bring back. I think that this is a topic that we should dig in more. I think that this is a topic that if there are young adults that are in this situation and how it affected them, because sometimes it takes for the parents, excuse my language, to shut the hell on up and allow the children to tell you how they felt about going through this. Because a lot of times we're in denial about what they feel because we don't want them to feel it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I think if you have someone who's grown up with that scenario, and can say this is the effects of this. Like this is what happens when you live this type of situation. I think that maybe that would be eye opening for someone who is now in a situation where they're deciding if this is what they want to do. Because while there's still time to change that, right? To change the narrative. But I mean, I would just say, obviously, I have not personally been in this situation. I really think, Tony, like your knowledge and your experience with the situation was so helpful. I really hope that this helps someone at least, from a perspective of how do I move forward? What do I do? What does this look like? And I think even talking about it brings like some level of healing because you get to just talk about it. I think that when you're going through something and people don't let you just have your moment to speak and have your moment to share your truth, that is also more trauma, right? Because you don't get to express that. So I hope at least that gave some people an outlet in that. And I always speak to the ladies because I'm coming from a female perspective. And I would just say, ladies, like it's not fair. It's not okay for us to want to control our children in that way. It's not, and manipulate our children, because really it's manipulation. And it's not okay for us to try to manipulate our children in that way. And it's not okay for us to try to control another person in that way, because you no longer have that power and that control over them that you may have had when you were in that relationship. So now this is another way that you can have some level or some form of control. I think instead a healthier way of handling that is fixing what's going on with you. There's clearly something there with you that you can't let that go. That hurt go, that pain go, and now this is what it's turning into. You're so hurt that you're now hurting someone else, and that someone else is the child. So, ladies, I would say focus on fixing what's broken about you, so that you don't then cause more trauma for your child, because I know that's not what you want.
Tony, do you have any? First of all, we all want to thank you, Chloe, Quay, from the bottom of our hearts of joining the panel. I talked to you yesterday about coming on the show, and you showed up. A lot of people say they're going to show up, but don't show up, and it's okay, because the right people show up at the right time for all the right reasons. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for having me. Just being vulnerable and telling your story. You know what I mean? And sharing into the things that you've been through, because you don't have to share. You know what I mean? Because I believe that your story has made an impact on someone or just gave someone a thought about not wanting to give up, about a fight, about a black man actually having 50-50. I think there's a lot of gems in what you said and what you've shown just being up here. And I believe the audience truly appreciates what you had to say. So if you have any closing remarks for the show or anything that you want to talk to the people about, go ahead.
First of all, thank you all three for having me. I appreciate it. I was like, once it started, the conversation started, I was like, I cannot text all this stuff. I got too much I want to say because I don't hear the conversation enough. I really want to thank you guys for having me. And I also want to be some type of information, get some kind of information out there to young males and older males that have these problems that I could share, not just the problems, but the solutions that I know. I feel like they were never educated. A lot of guys were never educated, and they're not educated because they don't know. But I do know that almost every man that I know, he loves his child. He loves his child the same. So I would just say, put the child first. Just put the child first, no matter what. And that's what, and that may mean you got to let go a lot. You got to let go a lot with the relationship that you have, but you also have to let go material things. Man, I just broke down and just moved from a 2-bedroom, everything was all nice, to 1 bedroom. He got his room, I got the living room, we got it set up, he got his place. We just want to make it work. And so you got to put the child first. Stability is everything for that child. And I would say to black women, I love black women. I was just talking to my son. We were having a talk yesterday, and he was talking to me about how he knows so many black guys, and every time he hears it, he doesn't hear, they don't like black women, which that's another conversation. And I told him, I said, listen to me. You come from a black woman. I said, your aunts and your grandma and your cousins are black women. I said, they are treasures, and I believe that they are treasures, and I treasure black women. But I also want us to be accountable. And I also want us to come to the table and say, look, this is stuff that's been inflicted on us. Black men have inflicted a lot of pain on black women. But in this situation, there's been a lot of pain inflicted from black women on black men. And they need to come to the table and say, let me talk and let me make amends to this and take accountability and make amends to it. So that's what I have to say. Thank you guys so much again for having me on the show too.
Wait, what you got for us, fam? Looking all sharp over there.
Man, I just want to say this. Something that Tony said. When he was kind of giving us the breakdown of some of his experiences with this situation. What I hear out of Tony, listen, this is something that I just want to communicate to the fellas. What I hear out of Tony is leadership. Yep. Tony has taken it upon himself to make sure that business is handled, to make sure his son has what he needs, to make sure his son can still grow and thrive, even in the situation that may not be ideal. And that is what I commend. Like I said, I'm seeing a lot of brothers in these current years making a decision that they want to turn that corner. They're saying that I want to get out here and handle my business. I want to be a father. I want to make sure my son, and I'm speaking specifically to the men. I want to make sure my son has what he needs. Yeah, that is key out here. Yeah, making sure that these sons have what they need, because we have to raise and set the foundation for our next level of leaders as they come along and as they get older. So no, shout out to you, Tony. I commend what you've done, to make sure that situation was addressed and that your son is getting what he needs. I commend any other father out here who's making sure he's connecting, King included. I commend you guys for making sure that these young fellas have what they need, and that we laying a foundation for these young fellas to be on point as they get older as well, and have those tools that they need as they get older as well. So man, shout out to y'all, man. Listen, that's really the piece that's driving it home for me. Even though we may have friction in these relationships, at the end of the day, we still got to make sure that these young men and these young women have what they need so that they can continue on. So now I commend you, brothers, man. I'm gonna leave it at that, Los. Go ahead and do your thing, man.
Thank you, guys.
The truth is having understanding, right? But biblically, it says, "My people perish for their lack of understanding." We choose to stop understanding each other. We choose to go into ego. A mentor of mine said, "Ego stands for edging God out." We make it all about ourselves. We choose to allow the position of what a piece of paper says create power and division. And what I mean by that is, because the judge ruled in favor of this parent, now I have the authority to be the ruler over it all. I'm the boss of everything. I can be selfish and it's my way or the highway. If you don't do what I say or what I like, it's not about the child. It's about you doing what I say and what I like. And as soon as you step out of bounds, I'm going to use the child that we created as a piece of kryptonite to hurt you. And I don't care about how you feel. I don't care about the ramifications. I just want you to hurt because I hurt. And you're going to listen to me. You're going to hear me. You're going to do what I say. And if not, you're going to go through all this hell. And the bad thing about it is, from my perspective, is that the child sits back and records it all. I mean, as a good father, let me talk to the fellas for a second. Being a good father doesn't mean just paying child support.
That's right.
Being a good father means sacrifice. Tony sacrificed his career so that way he could be next to his son because he loves his son so much. Bro, I fly across from California by myself. I gotta get a single flight there. When I get there, I gotta purchase round trip tickets there and back. And I gotta purchase another ticket just to get back home. Because to me, I can't speak for no other father out there. My child means that much to me. Why is it that we have to make it already harder? We out here yelling Black Lives Matter. We out here screaming and protesting and all these other different things, because of systemic oppression. But what about the oppression that we create on ourselves? Ladies, the scary part about this whole situation, or fathers, the scary thing about this whole situation is when your child grows up and he learns the truth. That manipulation that you do only works for so long, because eventually they're going to discover the truth. And then they're going to wind up resenting you. And the problem with that is it's going to trickle over into relationships and communications in other areas of his life. And he won't even realize that it trickled into his other relationship, or it trickled into his job. It trickled to how he conducts himself at school. And he won't even know why. But the truth is, the reason why it's there is because the example that we're setting as parents. And as parents, when we have bad communication and we have bad habits, we create bad muscles for our children and we set them up for failure, but yet we say we want them to have a better life than us. How? How? If we don't set that example in front of them to learn so that way they can have the better life. We got to heal. Chloe talked about you doing your own internal work on yourself, because the person that you're angry at, he can't help you. You got to heal for yourself. Tony said, Kwesi talked about men having leadership qualities. Then be a leader. Don't talk about it, because in order to be a good leader, it's not about where you're going. It's about who's following you. You got to set the example. Tony talked about sacrifice and the sacrifices that you make. So as adults, we have to come together to sacrifice together to set a better example so we can have a better future. Because this is the only reason why other cultures can say the things that they say, because sometimes we put the bullets in the gun for them by our behavior and our choices. So in order to change that, we need more opportunities and more conversations like this. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all. For the first time since we've done this show, the chat was quiet. It wasn't a lot of comments flying. It wasn't a lot of people joining in and out the show. And that only shows proof of how triggering this topic is. The truth is, you didn't even want to discuss it. You didn't even want to touch it. But the point of it is in order to heal, you got to discuss it. You got to be able to be held accountable. Because the most of the time when you don't want to talk is because you feel like, well, you know, he ain't talking to me. I ain't dealing with that. We get in our feelings. We let that ego, we let that machine, we let that monster, we let that thing get us. Well, what about them? Well, what about men? Well, what about this? Well, what about the child? We want to do everything else but talk about how we can come up with the solution. We'll rather, you know what? We'll rather be right. We'll rather point fingers and keep the same old BS going. And then wonder why we in the same situation we in as a culture. Instead of getting up in here, and I ain't trying to disrespect nobody because I'm talking about me too. That's why we having the conversation and we created the show. These are the topics that we need to, the chat should be on fire. Honestly, everyone should have an opinion about it, honestly, because we all know someone who's been in this situation. We've all seen it. We've all heard about it. We've all heard about baby mama drama, baby daddy drama, blah, 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 drama. We've all heard about it. But in order to fix the drama, we got to get at the root of it. And the only way to get the root of it is for us to get on here and have some real conversations. Like, ladies, honestly, what can we do as men to fix that? I would love to know. I would love for y'all to say, you know what, I'm sick of this. This is why I do this. This is what pisses me off. This is so I can have a better understanding, so I know how to address the situation differently. Because I can't fix what I don't know. And at the same time, I need y'all to hear our pain. I need y'all to hear that we be in our room crying, that we be hurting, that we don't know what we're gonna do because we just want to see our child. Like as a man, it hurts. I wake up every day not being able to see my child, and I ain't afraid to cry online. Whatever, say what you want to say, but I love my baby like that.
That's right.
And when I can't wake up and see my seed, all because of your ego, it hurts. Hell yeah, you got me. You won. You won. You wanted to hurt me? You got me. You won. Now what? Because the more you win in this situation, the more he losing.
Yeah.
The more he losing. So how are we going to give him a fresh start and give him a better life that we say we wanted?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Because the day he was born was the day it was our responsibility to prepare him for the life that he's supposed to about to have, that he's about to walk into. How the hell are we, excuse me, how the hell are we preparing him? How are we as a culture changing our culture? How are we creating a better life? We say we want a better life, but what are we doing to make it better? Because we got to stop being on bullshit. I'm just calling it what it is. We really be on some bullshit as men and women, period. All because we can't be together and we can't get along no more. And we wonder why this cycle continues. Facts. The only way to break the cycle, y'all, is for us to talk. We ain't got to agree. Everything ain't got to be perfect. Because if it was, we wouldn't grow. I don't need you to say yes or be a hype man to me. What I do need is your truth, though. I need your honesty. I need your real opinion. I need us to be able to be true to set a true example for the child to grow. How the hell is the plant supposed to go if we don't plant supposed to grow if we don't water it? If we don't give it sunlight, if we don't give it all the steps and things that it needs to grow, and then we over there looking at the plant like, damn, it ain't what we thought it was supposed to be. Of course not. You didn't do what it takes for it to happen. So what do we need to do? Ladies, what do we need to do to fix it? What can you do to heal from it? Men, how can we make this approach better? Is it our conversation? Is it our tone? Is what are we doing wrong? Because there's something in our blind spot too. But how is it as adults can we come together to do something better, to create a change? Because I promise you as I close out this show, if we could solve this riddle of how we can communicate to get along for the greater good of our children, do you know what type of impact that would make? Do you know what type of shift would happen in the world if parents could communicate for the betterment of their child, whether they together or not? Do you know what type of change would happen if we just knew how to talk? Do you know what type of change would happen if we just knew how to come together and be honest? Yo, I don't like your shirt. I don't like this. I don't like that. And do it in a respectful way. What type of impact will we make if we able to have truthful conversations? What type of impact would this show be on fire right now the way it should be if we were in the chat being honest with each other? But the quieter we are, the less comments that we get, the more we don't talk about it, all we're going to do is continue repeating the same cycle. Facts. That's our show today, man. I love y'all. I wasn't trying to be preachy to y'all, but I just want to be real with y'all because I can't ask y'all to be real. I can't ask y'all to do something that I ain't willing to do myself. So I'll jump out here, tears and all, talk about my baby, my boys, or whatever else, whatever I got to do, so we can fix it. Because I don't want to see my children go through the same thing. Because my father asked me one question. He said, "Yo, did you get married like that because I wasn't in your life? Did you do this because I wasn't there?" And the truth was yeah, because I didn't want to be you. And by me not trying to be you, I became you. That's another show.
Yeah.
Check us out, man. Look in the mirror. The
Later,
conversation.
later, y'all.
Take us
Thanks,
home.
y'all.
No, I appreciate it. No, once again, we appreciate everybody joining us in the comment. Peter, Barbara Price, Dre Harris, Talisa. Man, we appreciate the support. Like I said, Tony, man, like I said, once again, man, we appreciate you coming on the show, dropping all of those gems,
Big
being
fact.
transparent, you know what I'm saying, just trying to educate some brothers on their rights, man. And man, we appreciate that, man, all the way around. But once again, shout out to you, Chloe, as well, for joining us on the panel.
Chloe,
not being scared to get on here.
Thank you for holding the ladies to the fire. Because sometimes we need somebody just to be true. And the same way me and Quay gonna hold y'all can't hold us accountable. Me and Quay gotta hold the men accountable. But I appreciate you still holding your sisters to be accountable, because that's the only way we can grow with accountability. I appreciate that.
You no problem. You know how I do. Thank
sure.
y'all. This is a good topic.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Tony, we closing the show anyway, Tony. If you watch it, we closing it out. We just saying bye to everybody, bro.
Yeah, no, we appreciate Tony for sure. But yeah, once again, this is Look in the Mirror, the conversation. We'll do this show every Thursday, 9:30 Eastern Standard, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, every Thursday. Always coming with the topics, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Always getting down to the root of these issues, always causing folks.
Dre, join the show next time.
Show. Yeah, no, definitely, Dre. We gotta get you on the panel, man. But yeah, let's say just always having them conversations to cause everybody, you know, just to look in the mirror and just think about how they're going about things, how they're doing things. Let's say just how they're living in general. So let's say we appreciate everybody's support. And you want to say something real quick, Los?
Just thank y'all, man. Like, honesty goes a long way. Y'all coming up here talking. Look, man, I learned a lot from Dre. I learned a lot from Tony. I thank Ms. Price for her situation. You know, I think everyone in the comment section, because that those old sayings are so real, man. It takes a village to raise a neighborhood, you know, a child or whatever else, you know. Iron sharpens iron. There's so many different sayings, but even in the Bible, it talks about when we all can come together to agree. The power in that. Yeah, the Bible, it says, man united can accomplish anything. The problem is we so divided. Quay talks about the Black culture and how divided we are, and how we got to get on the same page to be able to accomplish these goals, to create the change we want, not just mentally, physically, and spiritually, but financially too. And how we as a culture can shift if we get on the same page. But we got to know what we want. We gotta have a course for the navigation system of what we want to do.
Right.
So I love this show, bro. I love learning from everyone in the comment section. Just because I say the last words don't make me no better than nobody else. I love y'all opinion. I love y'all. I love to learn from y'all. We all need to grow. And that's why I can honor, you know, Tony the way I did. That's why I can honor Chloe the way I did. And, you know, I'm going to always edify Mr. Redbone and Fly Quay Price with the black tie, white shirt, brick rap gown. That's my guy right there. That boy stay smooth with the Stevie Harker haircut. You know what I mean? Where I got my you know what I'm saying, bald head over here, whatever. But facts. Like, I love y'all, man. That's the whole importance of the show. Thank you, Miss Price. We love you too. That's the whole point of the show, man, to touch and agree. What's the point of living if you don't want to learn from each other? You know, right. When I graduated college, I said the biggest lie is knowledge is power. That is a lie. Knowledge is knowledge. So you can know everything but apply nothing. What did it mean to know it? You have to apply the knowledge to be powerful. And if we all have a gift of our perspective of life that can help someone else, it is our obligation to share it with someone else. You know, and on our show, I don't feel like we're throwing our pearls on swine. I feel like everyone that comes to the show is someone that wants to learn and wants to grow. And that's why we're throwing out these different pearls. And if it fits you, it fits you. And if it don't, it don't. Do your own research. Do your own homework. Grow from it. If it challenges you to go look up something where you find something different in your life, then don't do that. We're not trying to say we the gurus and we know it all. We're just some honest people that just want to have some honest conversations with y'all.
Facts. But no, once again, let's say we appreciate everybody supporting us tonight and coming out for the show. Let's say definitely a powerful show. But yeah, once again, catch us on Thursday, 9:30 Eastern Standard, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And let's say once again, this is Look in the Mirror. And with that being said, everybody,
Hey, they gotta like, share, subscribe, and bring a friend. You feel me?
I'll be slipping. Definitely like and share and subscribe. Like I said, we are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We got it scrolling down there with the title. So definitely come follow. Look in the Mirror, basically the convo on our Instagram. And I said we're also on YouTube as well.
Hey, and if y'all got some different show topics, hit up my man Quay Price. Hit me up on Facebook. Throw out the different topics that you want to talk about. Ladies, when you had a perspective, well, what about the men? Throw that in the questions because we want to talk about it from y'all perspective too.
For sure. Like I said, we definitely bring those topics to the show. So like I said, once again, we appreciate everybody. And with that being said, everybody have an awesome night.
Yeah. Let's go, LeBron.